Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Everyday Recovery Podcast. My name is Jim Lang. I'm the Senior Vice President and Director of Men's Addiction Recovery here at America's Keswick. And each week we just want to give you a glimpse into the curriculum of our program, some of the topics that we talk about with the men and women here at the Colony of Mercy and Barbara's Place. And so this past week at the Colony, we were talking about surrender. And surrender really is the key to victory, to walking in newness of life, to walking in the freedom that you're looking for. Whether you have a besetting sin in your life or you are struggling with addiction, overcoming that does not come by trying harder, by white knuckle, just trying your hardest to overcome. It comes by surrendering your life over to the Lord. And I think one of the key ways that this happens is for us to surrender our thought life. What we allow ourselves to think about, what we allow ourselves to dwell on, really works itself out in our words, in our actions, and the direction of our life. You know, think about it. All sin starts with thought. All sin starts with me thinking about something, fantasizing about something, mulling something over until the temptation becomes too much that it becomes an outward action or an outward word. And so all sin starts with thought. And so we need to surrender over our thought lives. And so how do we do this? I think we get a glimpse of this in 2 Corinthians chapter 10. And Paul, in verse 5 verse 4, it says, "Since the weapons of our warfare are not flesh, but are powerful through God for the demolition of strongholds, we demolish arguments and every proud thing that is raised up against the knowledge of God, and we take every thought captive to obey Christ." We have the ability to take captive our thoughts. And so when we get stuck in a negative thought, or we get stuck in a thought that's tempting us, we have the ability to take that thought captive, to bring it into the obedience of Christ. And one of the more helpful ways of doing that is a passage that we find in Philippians chapter 4. When I was struggling in my own addiction and really wrestling through a lot of the things in my life was so filled with anxiety and filled with fear, and the thoughts that I had would cause me just to kind of go through all the what-ifs of life. And I'd worry about things that just had a minimal chance of happening, and I would spend sleepless nights and just get myself full of anxiety, worrying about things that I had no idea if they were going to happen or not. And God used this passage in Philippians to help me take those thoughts captive. And it says in verse 8, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any moral excellence, and there's anything praiseworthy, dwell or think about these things." And so when I find myself thinking about something that is taking me down a road I don't go down, I put it through this test. Is what I'm thinking about true? Is this actually happening? Is this going to happen? If it's not true, I don't need to think about it. I don't need to dwell on it. I don't need to allow it to have space in my head. I need to take that thought captive into the obedience of Christ. Is this thought honorable? Is this thought just? Is this thought pure? Is it lovely? Is it commendable? Allow God's word to bear its weight on our thoughts. So many times we just let our thoughts run rampant, and then we operate out of all that, in what we call in recovery, the stinking thinking. And so I want to challenge you today to surrender your thoughts to the Lord. Like you are the one who acts on those thoughts. You're the one who allows those thoughts to continue to run through your head. And so whether that means running it through the Philippians 4:8 test, going through those things, or talking about it with a trusted friend or counselor or pastor, and allowing yourself to take those thoughts captive and surrender those over to the Lord. Hope you've enjoyed this devotion. If you or anyone you know is struggling with addiction, I'd love to speak with you. You can give me a call at 732-350-1187. I'm extension 1041, and we'll see you next week.